Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And I've definitely got a pretty unique combination out here today that might perform really well, or it might perform really terribly as well. It really could honestly go either way with this one. We've definitely got a shell that has not shown some great performance, but a choke that has shown some surprisingly good performances. So I don't know, can the two of these work together and make something at least usable? We're gonna find out one way or the other. So for the shell I've got out here today, I brought out some more of the Federal Grand Slam loads. These are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, ounce and 3/4 of lead number 5s, moving about 1,200 feet per second. And as you can see, they do have the flight control wad, which has shown some really good performance in the buckshot, but as far as these turkey loads, it has not been the case. So that's definitely a load with a pretty mixed bag as far as the track record goes on it. But for the setup today, we're definitely taking a little bit of an interesting route here. So as for that setup, I've brought out my Remington 1187 here. However, I threw in this choke. This is a Carlson's heavyweight TSS 640 constriction choke. So quite a bit tighter than your normal, 660, 665 kind of chokes. So I'm definitely interested to see how this tight of a constriction plays with those shells in general, because they are lead 5, which have shown to like around the 665 constriction, and the flight control wad, which a lot of people seem to think that tight chokes ruin the performance of a flight control wad. But we actually tested the buckshot with the flight control wads through a bunch of different chokes, and it seemed like the tighter chokes worked better with the flight control wad. So we're going to find out one way or the other what happens with this today. Could be good, could be absolutely terrible as well. But as for the test, we're going to keep everything the same as usual. I have the turkey target set up at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see what kind of speed we're running and how close it is to the 1200 that's on the box. So let's get you guys set up with a view of the target, and I'll head up and take the shot. We'll look at what kind of chrono number we had, and we'll go down range and see how they performed. I really don't know what to expect on this one, but let's head over here and shoot it and see what happens. Okay, so that round gave us 1232 through the chrono. The box is claiming 1200, so we're right there where they're saying it should be, which is always good to see from a big manufacturer like this, that they put real numbers on the box that we can actually get. So nothing too out of the ordinary up here, but how did they actually shoot down range? Let's go take a look and see. Alright, so now we're down range here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And we do have a dead bird here. There is one right through the brain there, but down here a little bit lower, that's plenty of shot that would have got something to knock this bird down. So that is absolutely a dead bird, I do believe. However, looking at the rest of the pattern, we were definitely a little bit low and to the right. And I gotta say, that choke in particular is the pickiest choke when it comes to shooting different shells through it and having different points of impact. It doesn't matter if you have a red dot or fiber optic sights or bead sight on your shotgun. If you're using that choke, every single load I've ever ran through it hits in a different location, which is definitely why you test your setup before you take it out into the woods. But either way, looking at the pattern here, I mean, it's not a terrible pattern. It might be the best pattern that we've seen with that Federal Grand Slam load. But looking at it, it's not what I would call a super tight pattern. It doesn't have a core that really sticks out as being super tight, but the majority of the main area of the pattern there is definitely pretty even looking. I mean, there's nowhere that bird would be able to move his head to if that pattern was centered up and be able to get through it. So is that a terrible pattern? No, I wouldn't say so at all. But is it as good as some of the other lead 5 loads out there on the market? No, it's not. But again, I am relatively surprised with what that super tight 640 choke has been able to do. I mean, this was a load that was extremely lackluster in all of our previous tests. That's going to be a pattern for a guy that likes a little bit of leeway and likes their patterns to be much more even and uniform over somebody that's really looking for a screaming tight core. Still not the best lead load of 5s out there on the market by any stretch of the imagination, but that's probably one of the better performances, if not the best performance that we've gotten out of it, that's for sure. Okay, and here's that Federal flight control wad out of that shell. And as you can see, the tighter the choke, it seems like the more the little petals on the back open up here. Because these ones are flayed open pretty good compared to what you normally see out of these wads. But as for the rest of it, you do see these little bulges right in the slits that they cut in the side, which probably has something to do with the pressure and constriction hitting that tight of a choke, most likely. Because you can see here where it clearly hit that choke pretty hard and might have squished the wad shorter and re-expanded it as it came out the end of the barrel. But nothing stuck down in there, no rips or tears or anything like that. Looks pretty standard for a flight control wad, so nothing too special to see on this one. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance there? Is that a terrible turkey pattern? No. Is it a screaming tight turkey pattern with a really tight core? No, it's not that either. That's definitely a pattern for the guy that likes a little bit of leeway, likes a little bit more even looking of a pattern. But either way, it's definitely, you know, a little bit better than what I was kind of expecting to see. This load has not been a super amazing performer so far. It hasn't been the worst, but it's definitely far from the best. So, as always, leave your thoughts about it in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you thinking it might be a little bit better or a little bit worse? Would you use a pattern like that? And what have been your kind of results with both the Grand Slam loads and that Carlson 640 choke? Let me know all that down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got a bunch more testing to film for y'all, so I'm going to get back to it. We do have the channel Instagram as well as a mailbox where you can send things if you would like. So all that information will be in the description for you if you're interested. But I'm going to get back to the testing, so I'll see y'all in the next one.